Welcome to today's episode of the What Talk. Today we'll be covering a bit of Volta racing, the past races that we had and the future ones. Milano San Remo, which have been yesterday,
Yep.
and Volta Catalunya, which is the race that's happening right here in Girona and Catalonia next week, as well as
Well, when this podcast is on, it will already be the fifth stage
yeah,
because will be
but
live on Friday. But yeah,
even better. We'll see if
yeah,
we have any good predictions
yeah,
or um, also we'll be covering a bit about cycling shoes
mm-hmm.
and the hot topic of the last 2 weeks, which is wider tires on the
Yeah.
road, based on the cycling what was, because I've paid for it,
I don't know.
cycling news,
Ah, yes.
the cycling news test.
Yesterday, a really nice race. You watched it a bit later, but yeah, it was really nice. I mean, for me, not gonna lie, it's one of the most boring classics. Like it's 280.
Pretty flat.
Yeah, but you're mostly worried about not crashing, especially when they get into the small climbs and in every turn they get so close to the wall and the peloton they are on a line of four descending, which is pretty crazy, and they were going really fast. But I mean, UAE did what we all expected, and I don't know. I felt like Poggi was not in the best shape we've seen him. Like either Mattia was so strong or Poggi was just not enough. It felt like, "Ah, come on, you can do a bit more." It was my feeling. Like I've seen him attack harder than that, but the climbs don't allow you to attack that much, if you ask me.
I actually think he was in great shape.
Better than, I don't know,
Yeah,
than last year
top
Worlds.
shape. Yes. Just because Cipressa was like 4%.
Yeah.
That's perfect for Mathieu.
Mm.
And Poggio is pretty short.
Yeah.
There's no
No,
way,
there's basically nothing.
unless he can do like 30-30s
Mm.
out of every corner, 30-15s.
Yeah.
But even doing that, you could see Ghana hanging on.
Yeah, yeah.
He's their wheel like seven
But I think,
seconds away,
I
just
think,
doing his 1 hour
yeah,
pump.
but I think what Ghana did, I think was very interesting because it's one of the things that we saw from Remco last year in the tour, which is just stop responding to every single attack and you just
Yeah,
keep your power. And Remco did that the in most of the climbs last year. Like, okay, I'm not able to follow Poggi one after another, after another, after another. So it's better just keep the same pace, keep it steady, and at some point they will break. You maybe are not able to catch them, but you could. And I think that what Ghana did was probably one of the smartest things we've seen in this type of races. Like, let them fight. Poggi was willing to drop Mathieu, but he was holding like, yeah, insane. And Ghana just kept his pace, which was for me really nice because like it's all about punchy guys, and now we're starting to see guys just being more consistent, more constant with the power. So yeah, really nice race. Very nice race.
so even though he was not a puncher like the other
Yeah.
two, he managed to hang on just doing his threshold.
Yeah, but still his threshold is like he did 5:10 for 20 minutes in Tirreno.
Yes,
I mean on a 4%, that it's raw watts.
and you could see
Yeah.
him going really low on the climb.
Yeah.
They also had tailwind on both
Yeah,
of the
that's true.
climbs,
That's true.
so that's also a
Yeah.
factor.
Yeah, but he was getting on a really TT position. Yeah, I think he was really smart.
Yeah.
He was really smart. And yeah, and at the end of the sprint, for with the friend that I was watching the race, it was pretty clear that Mattia was going to win.
Yes.
I mean, Poggi can sprint, but still,
On uh, when they arrived on top of Poggio, it was a clear winner.
yeah,
There's no way you can drop
yeah,
Mathieu van der
no,
Poel on a
not sprint.
descent or on a flat. So yeah, that was pretty easy. But I didn't really understand why Mathieu tried to attack at the end of Poggio.
I think the last attack,
Uh,
maybe Mattia thought, Poggi is a bit weak. Let me try. And it took Poggi a bit of time to actually,
yeah, just because he doesn't have that
yeah.
power, that raw power of Mathieu.
Well, I don't know, maybe just mind games, just showing that
Yeah, maybe.
I can still do one more and you can't. What I thought it was really strange, it was Poggi's position before the sprint. There's a view from the helicopter that you see Ghana and Mathieu on each side of the road. And then Poggi is like 2 or 3 bikes behind them. I didn't really understand that because even if you want to attack or just be the first to sprint, you already need 2 bikes to catch them. And if they start before you, you also need to pedal extra. So it was a bit strange.
Maybe he was just trying to hide, not to be seen, and try to accelerate from there.
That's what I thought, but still,
But
with Mathieu, you need to be on his wheel if you want to have any options.
and Matteo got really good in strategy game at the end of a race. Like if you've seen him 5 years ago,
Mm.
probably he would have lost it. But today, nah, he's a master
Yeah,
of the end
of
race.
classics, yes. Yeah, but it's a race for Mathieu.
Yeah,
I think Poggi will
for
suffer a
sure.
lot to win it. I hope that he wins it just for the sake of history and just because hardly will see any other cyclist like him. But he'll have to work and suffer a lot. I don't know, the drone image was really nice. It was a bit
Yeah,
of low quality, but
it
ki-
looked like the one in
the
Tour de
tour,
France
yeah,
last
exactly the
year.
same. And I think that hopefully we can start getting more kind of um, recordings like that.
Yeah.
I mean, a drone is way better than a helicopter. I'm sure it's cheaper, and you can maybe get a drone 2 meters above the peloton. So that must be really nice. Anything else that you would like to mention from the race?
Oh, I think anyone could have won,
From the three?
win. Not necessarily from the three of them. What I mean if Poggi would have not attacked multiple times on
Hmm.
Cipressa, for sure the group would have been bigger,
Yeah.
and you could see what happened last year
Yeah,
when a sprinter
in the
won.
sprint, yes. I think there was one guy from FDJ, Gregoire, I don't know his name. He held on Poggi's attack in the beginning, like 2 or 3 attacks. Pitcock, surprisingly, was just gone after the first attack.
Yeah, it's 200 after the 200 kilometers after.
Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, I'm not trying to say that he's weak, obviously not, but still. But like after the train from UAE, that Niels Pollitt was going full gas, and then Narvaez again, like I don't even want to know how many watts per kilo he did,
Yeah,
but he was pushing like it was his last day alive. And then you just also need to respond to a Poggi attack. So yeah, really nice. It's getting clear to see the tactics behind the peloton. That's no, it's not only about who's the strongest. There's many things to take into account, like just you either respond to all attacks or stay consistent as Ghana, or yeah, many things. It's getting more and more interesting for such a boring race. But you could have fallen asleep the first 6 hours and then you
yeah,
just wake up
yeah.
for the end of it.
It's that type of of race.
Yeah, are you happy that Mathieu won? Did you want Poggi to win?
Anyone from the front group could have win, and uh, like even Campenard
Yeah.
or Ghana could do a breakaway. Well, maybe not on Cipresaya or
Mhm.
Poggio, but somewhere else, or Mohoric on a descent
Yeah,
like a few years back. So it's the type of race that can be won by literally
yeah.
any type of rider if you have the fatigue resistance at the end. That's the most important thing.
Mm.
Like I've seen his 1 minute attack on
Bogey.
Cipresaya, yes, it was 9.6 watt per kilo, which is, yeah, it's high, but it's not that high. But considering it's after 200
Yeah.
kilometers, that's really impressive.
Well, it's nearly 600 watts, which for someone as Ghana or Mathieu, which are a bit heavier, Mathieu is around 75, I think. It's like around 7 to 8, but still,
Yeah.
it's 1 minute. I would like to see us behind 4% at 9 watts per kilo.
Well, my best 1 minute is around
Yeah,
8.5 or something like that.
and not. I'm sure it wasn't after 200K.
No, it was like really, really fresh and going for a PR, for a GOM.
So yeah, really interesting race. Mathieu, first classic of the year. He's also going to Ron Van Vleuten and Paris-Roubaix. Um, I think Pog is also doing Paris-Roubaix.
Yeah,
So we'll see. Well, he was training for it. I wouldn't
but
expect seeing him training.
but did he say that?
Actually, in Pro Cycling Stat, it doesn't show up. So maybe he doesn't do it. He'll do La Flèche and Liège-Bastogne-Liège, and then straight to Critérium, Dauphiné, and Del Tour. So yeah, maybe he will not do it. We'll have to see. I don't know who would go out for a zone 2 ride on Paris-Roubaix, honestly. It's not comfortable.
No, but maybe he was preparing for something that's a bit easier, like in Belgium.
And also we have for us the most important race, 1 week race, which is La Volta Catalunya, and it's here in, well, not in Girona, but there are stages that happen where we usually ride.
Yeah,
Um,
especially here on the coast and the
yeah.
local climbs.
Let's start with you one with the stages.
The
You
first stage is
and
like really close to
do you
right
have
here.
the profile? I can send it to you.
No, but I
I
can.
sent you a message. So first one, it starts in the coast. They do a very strange loop. They do the coast twice, if I'm not mistaken. Um, for some reason. And yeah, it's a date that they'll do Santa Pelayo. We left our predictions for the KOM of that climb
Yeah,
in the previous episode, so go check it out if you wanna see it. It's a very easy climb. I think it's a punchy kind of stage. Last year, the first stage was won by two guys from the Israel Premier. They just went and nobody followed them. That's it. One of the strangest wins I've seen. I would say that the most interesting thing of this stage it's the coast part because it's
yeah,
really up and down. The roads are not especially wide and there are a lot of turns, so
pretty technical,
yeah, easy to crash. Um,
especially going with a big peloton.
yeah, that's the main. And if the peloton just starts getting on one line,
Yeah,
and if you're at the end of it, best of luck.
you'll be suffering a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Also, it's uh, a part in which if you have tailwind, it's really nice. But if you had headwind or crosswind, you'll feel it a lot because it's really open and it's just next to the sea. It's usually the place you go on winter because it's warm. Weather-wise, we are expecting bad weather until Wednesday, so we'll see how it goes. Usually,
Pwah.
yeah, the first 70K will be really wet. I don't know the start.
And tarmac is really slippery
Yeah,
especially on Romania.
and the descent of Santa Pelaia, it's really bad.
Yes, and also some corners on the coast.
Yeah,
So
true.
before,
And there's that corner which with your name
yes, but
that it
they are doing the other way around, right?
no, they are going from Tosa to San Feliu. No, no, they are going,
Tosa, they go,
but they'll do it twice,
yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
is for
So
me
they go
really stupid.
Romania and then,
Back again, then go to Llagostera and Tosa again, and they'll go to San Feliu.
okay. So that corner,
Yeah, they're gonna do it twice. Yeah, someone is
are
gonna
you
crash there.
are you betting someone is
Uh,
gonna crash there?
If not there, at some part of this segment.
I would say that's the most dangerous part, yeah.
That basically it's because the turn goes to the left, but the profile, what's the name of it?
It has an off camber
Yeah,
on the outside, so when you're leaning the bike, you're
yeah,
actually making a way bigger lean angle than
yeah,
your speed, so you're just slipping. And it's gravel on the side.
yeah. It's really bad. So yeah, we'll see. Strange stage. I don't really understand why they need to do it twice, but okay. So second stage, it's flat stage, I think. Yeah, mostly flat. They do well. I would consider this flat. They'll do one of the climbs you still haven't done, which is San Pere. They'll do it the other way around, I think. Uh, yes, which is for me the hardest. It's mainly steep, but the road is really beautiful. It's open. You have the sea. It's another day in which the wind can be really hard and heavy in this part of Lampurda.
So it's the one that goes to Cadaqués.
Yes,
It's the same.
yes,
I only did it by car, yes.
we'll do it together. It's a one from Girona. There are many ways of going there, but the one we do with our friend, it's around 175 Ks, and it's the thing is that it's flat. You then do 1200 of elevation because you do 3 climbs, and then you go back to
Back.
Girona on a flat. They don't actually go to Cadaqués. They'll
They
go
turn
to, yeah,
left.
and turn the left. But yeah, hopefully we can get some really nice air shots. I would say this is gonna be either flat or something for the break because there's also one small climb close to the end of it. So we'll see.
They also do the finish line 2 times.
I don't really know who made these things, but
Uh,
like we have a lot of roads. Maybe it's because they don't want to get to in small villages or they don't want to close the road for too
yeah,
much time,
maybe.
but I don't know.
Because they look like they take the main roads.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, knowing this part of Lampurda, I would say it's a lot of wind. Mm, on the way back, they'll
Oh,
have
yes.
a tailwind, but still, if it's rainy, it's gonna be really wet. So yeah, best of luck again.
I
Nobody
think you
crashing.
can win in a breakaway with
Yeah,
the
this is
wind
a
in
stage for a
Emporda.
breakaway, I'd say.
It's a really good stage for the breakaway.
Maybe after if they jump on the second climb, this one that I'm saying,
Yeah.
they can do it. The descent is really easy. It's not especially technical. It has a couple of tricky turns, but overall it's a wide road.
And if it's not gonna rain,
Yeah. Well, it's still on Tuesday. We would have to see the weather prediction, but honestly, I'd say it's really nice road to go fast. But again, if it's rainy or if it
and
hasn't,
the tarmac is pretty good, right?
it's decent. It's decent. It's not the best, but it could be worse. Like it's quite an old tarmac, but at least it doesn't have potholes or trees around. So for me, it would be an interesting stage to see. Maybe we can go and see them at some point, but if it's not on the climb, I don't think it's worth it, and the climb is a bit far from our house.
That's just the joy of watching cycling from the sofa,
Yeah,
actually. You don't have to spend like 2 to 3 hours before the race in rain or hot weather or
yeah,
whatever the conditions might be, and then phew, it's like 30 seconds, ya está.
When we went last year in Los Angeles, we were waiting for 30 to 40 minutes, and then
Yeah.
the peloton came, 15 seconds. That's
On a
it.
10% incline,
Yeah, yeah.
like 40 seconds, and that's the entire peloton.
So Wednesday, hopefully, the weather will start to get better. They are going to the Pyrenees and the pre-Pyrenees, which is the part of the mountains before the Pyrenees from Catalonia. And I think this is going to be a really, really nice stage to watch. Usually,
Is this the Queen stage?
I would say
Based on your knowledge about
there's the sixth stage, which also has some steep climbs. It's already 1,000 meters of elevation less. And usually the Queen stage is the one that finishes in Valter. This year
yeah,
they are not finishing there, but they are finishing close to it, so a bit more on the left. And it's usually the Queen stage from Catalonia. They do the same as they do in this stage, from sea level to as high as possible.
yeah,
And this is what they're doing. But for me, this is a really hard stage because it's either falls flat, just all like slightly 2 to 3%, or just climbs and then descending.
yeah.
I think you haven't done any of the climbs here because some of them are from the like the left part of Barcelona, and the last one, the horse category one, it's called Col de la Creueta. I've done it in the race from Quatre Cims, and I also did it one day that I went back bikepacking to our friend's house in France.
Oh, yeah.
Stage 5, 4, sorry.
The rolling one.
Yep. This is in a part of Catalonia I have not really been. It's quite far and looks like another day for the break.
Could be a
Could
break,
be
could
a
be a race controlled by one
yeah,
of the strong teams, and at the end, it looks like it could end with
yeah.
an attack on the last
Mm.
climb,
I
which is
think
like really steep.
6.6 is not really steep.
Yeah, but it has some
Yeah,
parts.
some parts that are steeper. Yeah, it's mostly the middle part that's over 7,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's the back of Los Angeles. It's not that bad.
Oh, yeah.
Slightly
True.
younger, just 3Ks more. But yeah, I think we would have to see how um the GC standings are,
Yeah.
and from there it would be easier to see what the strategy will be like. If they if there's one team that has a big gap, maybe they'll try to control. If there isn't that much of a gap and one of the teams have shown weaknesses, maybe the others will try to do as much pain as possible. And I think this could be also a stage for one of the smallest teams, the Conti teams.
If they are lucky,
Yeah,
and they
obviously.
get
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
they
if they can get in the breakaway,
and in the first thing that they should manage is getting front, because like the big teams will not let you in
yeah,
the
for sure.
peloton in the front of the race unless you go alone, like
Mm.
the entire team. No way they will
No,
let
no, of
you
course not. No, you just
in
need
the
to
front.
get the guy as soon as possible in the beginning
Yeah,
and just pray for him. It's a long stage, so yeah, the break. If it wants to win, it would have to be more than 3 guys,
yeah.
because 3 guys against a peloton for 180 or even 150 with as much as elevation as there is here, it's gonna be hard. But I would say that it's a good stage for quantity teams. We've got a friend of us racing in Danny. He's racing with Euskaltel. I think he's already confirmed he'll be racing it. Yeah. So maybe they can do a bit of damage.
Good luck to him.
Yeah.
Then stage 5 and 7, they are pretty flat.
Yeah.
uh
Well, the fifth one is on the flattest part of Catalonia, which is the bottom one. It's where one of the rivers ends. So they last year they did a climb that's close to here. That's called Moncaro. That's really steep, but seems like they are not doing it this time. I would have to check if the first climb I've done it, because uh I raced here just before starting with you, and actually before meeting you, and the profile looks familiar, but I could be completely wrong, so I'm just not gonna say. Again, either sprint, because
Or sprint.
yeah, unless there's a break again, this would be the first stage that I would say it's for the sprinters. Onto the sixth one, which is the other that could be considered the queen stage. This is on. I've never been here, but a guy who's been here is Sepp Kuss. There's a group of guys that organize a small tour around this area. Their goal is to promote this part of Catalonia through cycling.
Okay.
So they have like a small organization with local shops and I don't know how to say it. Yeah, local shops, local businesses, and every year they put 7 different stages. You can do them anytime, and then you end up classifying for a final event they do. And the
Okay.
final event
That's
is
cool.
just going on a really, really steep thing. From what I know, Seb's wife is was a friend of the guys that organized this. And during COVID, Seb was training here. So actually, they realized that Seb was doing most of the stages that they had planned without them knowing. And Seb didn't know either. He was just training, like doing, yeah, let me do 5,000 of elevation because I need to. So Seb knows this terrain pretty well. Yeah, looks like it's a really hard stage, around 4,000 of elevation. Climbs here are really steep. And if the weather is nice, it's gonna be really, 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 really hot because it's a really dry area as well. Again, damage will be done here for sure. If Roglic or UAE have a bit of a gap, I think it's gonna be one of them going. Do you have any insights? What do you think? This is stage for you.
The hard climb is right in the middle of the race, so it's pretty hard to attack there. Like
Yeah,
there's like how much 70k left or 60k left
60K, yes.
from the top of the hard climb.
Hmm.
Uh, I think it's gonna just be controlled by one of the big teams, whoever has the leader's jersey.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll try to aim maybe at the end of the stage to get some extra bonus seconds.
The other climb, it's at 126. This one is steep. 5K at nearly 9%. This one is gonna be steep. And for me, this is Roglic or Ayuso.
Yeah.
This is made for them. Short climb, really hard climb. I would say that Sepp is going to suffer more in these kind of climbs. But the Yates can also do their thing here.
Yeah.
But again, it's 30Ks from the end, from
Also
the finish.
Carapaz could stay.
Yeah, actually,
Could stay with them.
if they go for the stages, maybe Carapaz can even attack and go solo. But this is a stage for Poggi.
Yeah.
He can attack here and then just go solo.
Yes.
Seeing him last year in Catalonia, it was fantastic. Sad that he's not participating this year.
He took all the KOMs available. Even on Volta,
Yeah, in Valter.
in shitty weather.
I think he actually finished the Strava activity not where the segment ends. So in Strava, you don't see him as the KOM.
Oh, okay.
So
But he has most of the segment.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's pretty clear.
And the last one is the usual end ride from Volta Catalunya. Honestly, pretty boring.
But at least you get to see the riders multiple times.
Yeah, that's true, because they do seven laps, 6 laps in the same small area of Barcelona. In here, 2 years ago, Remco and Roglic, or no, 2 years ago, yes, Remco and Roglic had a small fight. It was really interesting because they started attacking each other and they did 3 or 4 laps alone.
Yeah.
And you could see Remco getting angry because he was willing to have Roglic also working, but Roglic was already on
Yeah,
the red shirt, so he was like, "Nah, I'm not working. You're gonna be working," and he ended up losing the stage, I think, because Roglic attacked and he was cooked.
yeah,
But yeah, short stage, pretty boring. If something needs to be decided, maybe we see a bit of damage, but otherwise, I'd say it's gonna be maybe break or sprint again. Actually, last year it was a sprint. It was the one that Poggi tried to sprint
yeah.
because of yes, like he had won 4 stages already, but he still wanted another one. Um, so we'll see. Quite excited to have the first race around here. And if you want, we can go through our favorites. We've more or less said.
If you had to choose only one
I would like to.
based on the entire thing, like stages, teams,
Hmm,
just pick a GC that's gonna win.
yeah, Roglic.
Yeah, I think I would go with Roglic as well.
I think these 1 week tours, either Roglic or Ayuso, after having seen him in Tirreno.
Yeah.
Roglic didn't have the best Volta Algarve, so it was a bit of a like, and UAE has honestly has got a better team for the hard stages than Red Bull.
Yes. For
So
now, yes.
so Roglic will be suffering alone a bit, which it can be a bit more demoralizing. Um, yeah, especially with Sivakov, who I came across yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the town hall, the city hall square,
Yeah.
that there's this small structure and there are some restaurants.
Plaza de V.
Yes, I didn't want to say the name because
Yeah.
it's hard, but so there's one entry that has like wood like
Yeah.
so I was there with my girlfriend. We were having a coffee, and then I saw a guy like was like 190 from UAE. Yeah, GC will most likely go to Roglic or one of the guys from UAE unless something strange happens, like crashing, which is the best friend of Roglic. Um, Bisma are coming with Kuz, Wilco, Kelderman, Simon Yates, Bart Lemon, Matthew Brennan, which doesn't sound familiar, Steven Kruijswijk, and Menno Huizing.
I think they're just gonna be using this tour to train.
Yeah, of course. No, they need to win the Tour de France.
Yes.
It's their kryptonite after last year. So yeah. Imagine going to Volta Catalunya just to train. Let's get some volume in and some load.
Social race.
Yeah, social race. You said Ben O'Connor. Um, I'm not his biggest fan,
Me neither, but
and even more after last year's Vuelta.
yes.
I think that was they should have banned the team or did something to them because that was not fair. Um, but he could also do some damage in the hilly stages. I mean, Bernal is also coming, so he could be
Yeah, he's just getting back to it.
but if he wants to go for a stage maybe, or just helping train to
Or
GT.
maybe for the for the climbing jersey.
Hmm.
Uh,
So yeah, best of luck to all of the cyclists that are racing. Hopefully the weather will get better sooner than Wednesday.
Next topic.
What news do you have for us?
We can talk about the wider tires trend.
Talk
Uh,
to me.
and that's because Cycling News has posted a really interesting members exclusive
Okay.
lab test where they test tires from 26 millimeters up to 40 on two different rim widths uh, on the pedaling efficiency rig in the Silverstone. Uh, yeah, and surprisingly, uh, the results are somehow surprising and not, depending on where do you set what's your position about wider tires.
Why do you say that?
Uh, for some people, narrower tires are still faster.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you take the track cyclists, for sure,
Yeah.
on a on an hour 1 hour record attempt, you'll be going as narrower as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the more important, I would say, for the aero gains is the interaction between the rim and the tire, rather than just the tire itself.
So looking for a wider rim and then a smaller tire, or
No, just a good combination between the two.
so what's the logic behind it? So what are you looking for to make it faster?
You don't want to have a different width between the tire and the rim width,
Mm-hmm.
because then it will create turbulence. The wheel can be unstable if you have crosswinds, because the pressure builds up on the other side of the rim.
Mm-hmm.
It's also less aero at higher speeds, because it adds drag instead of having a streamline surface. You have a surface that oscillates, which adds drag, especially considering that the wheel is spinning, so half of the wheel is actually going faster in the wind and half of it's going slower.
I don't really know my rim width on the NV. I know that I'm using a 30, well, now a 28 because I couldn't find 30s, and a 25 on the TT.
Yeah, I think it should be 30 or
It's really wide when you look at my wheels, and
we could search for that AMV SIS 4.5
what are you wearing
internal.
in the Rovals?
Have 21 internal, but they're really wide external.
But on the tires,
28.
so now we're in the same.
So your internal width is 25, which is really wide. So probably your 28 measure like 30 to
Looked like
32.
32.
Yeah.
When you look into it, it feels, and especially when I go from the TT to the road bike or vice versa, it feels like I'm wearing a completely different. One is a mountain bike and the other one is a road bike.
So what you're aiming for, because your external width is 32, is your tire measurement should be 32.
Okay.
If you get digital calipers and you measure, it should be 31 to 32. So probably a 30 would measure somewhere around 31, or even 28 could measure around 30.
So I should be looking for a 30 over 28, preferably.
You have to test it. You have to measure which is the best interaction for you. But coming back to the test, they tested aero gains and aero inefficiency, as well as rolling resistance.
That is what I was gonna ask.
On two different surfaces, so good tarmac and cobbles. And surprise, surprise, the 26 millimeter is the fastest on tarmac, of course.
In comparison
to the wider ones, but not by a big margin. Like, for example, 9 meter per second, that's 32k an hour. So they tested two speeds.
Yes.
32 and 39.6. So let's say 32 and 40. And the 26, the 40 millimeter was only 5 watts.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Yes. Well, if you're considering it's one tire, so it's double, but it's 40 millimeters. And if you consider the interaction with the zip wheel, which is way, way wider, with the 40 on a tarmac, it's actually within the error, so it's right there with the 26. And at 40, it's only 3 watt slower, but that's still within the
per wheel.
yes, but it's still within the margin of error. So it's probably more or less the same.
Would you say it's worth looking into these small details? Up to what point it's worth it? We're only speaking about the 10-watt difference.
They've also counted the aero gains for the 26 versus a 40 because it adds width, so that's less aero
Less aero.
in the wind. So for example, the same difference, it's at 40k an hour, it's almost 5 watts, 4 to 5 watts.
Per wheel.
Yeah, I think this was for the front wheel. They tested the CDA for the front wheel. So if you put a 40, your CDA drops 0.1.
That's a lot.
No, 0.0.
I was gonna say that maybe I should do it.
Point
And I can get to your CDA.
0.1 something, 0.16, 0.15.
I mean, it's not that bad, but it's not something relevant.
Yeah, but
0.1, yes. 0.01, no.
It's still within the margin of error, I would say.
Like, are we going to see forks that allow 40?
Probably.
It's gonna be
In
insane.
5 years.
Yeah, we will have gravel bikes already. Actually, maybe even worth it to get a gravel bike frame.
Or a narrow optimized gravel frame.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Like
And then you just buy 2 pairs of wheels.
Yeah, the BMC Cayuse or something like that.
And that's it. I mean, the only issue will be the drivetrain, but you can manage.
You can put road gearing
for the gravel one.
Yeah, why not?
Well, I mean, I would like to see you on a 25% with a 34 and whenever you have in there small chainring. On a 25%, you're gonna do half the.
You could see some of the track riders in the last races. They were doing 1 by in SRAM gravel group set,
But
1 by 13.
But what was the peak sprocket? Like 40 something?
48, I think, which is like a 53, 52, no, 53.11.
Yeah, it's insane.
But coming back to the rolling resistance, that's only on tarmac. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like smooth one.
Yeah.
But once you get to the cobbles, the difference is like, you cannot believe this.
It's better on the 40 millimeters, right?
Yeah, but can you guess how much better?
No, for sure not.
At 40k an hour. So the difference between 11,
So what do you
26
want me to
millimeters,
guess?
the power loss in watts between 40 millimeters, because we know it's faster. We already assumed that. And the 26,
Let's say 20 per wheel, 20 watts per wheel.
it's 40 on the
40
wider.
watts
No, it's 80 watts
in total.
At 40k an hour, 80 watts.
But for both wheels?
For one wheel.
For one wheel. Nah,
Yeah.
that's insane.
Yes.
And why is that? What's the reason? Is it because it reduces the space between the cobbles, or what it makes the difference?
It's just because you have a higher volume when you go on the cobbles.
Yeah.
It absorbs most of the imperfections, so you don't lose that
I was
that
imagining
energy
something like that.
that's already built into the system. So your weight, your entire force moving you forward, the cobblestones will not stop you that much because it gets absorbed.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like I was expecting some kind of difference, but not like this. 160 watts is insane.
Yes. And considering that most of the roads are not like Los Angeles, like brand new pavement, and you have some imperfections.
But would you say like Romagna before they changed the pavement, it was not that bad. Do you think it would make a difference there?
Yeah, probably,
But
but not a 40. Maybe
maybe
a
10 or at most 10 watts, more than 10 watts. There's also
could
more.
be. Imagine Sangrao.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why you prefer going with a gravel bike. You also have more grip.
Yeah, and while it feels slower, it looks like it's not. Like I was doing my
60s a lot.
sometimes when the weather is bad, I'm doing my intervals on the gravel bike
Mm-hmm.
just because it's easier. On the gravel bike, I don't have to swap between the chain rings and there's not much of a difference in terms of speed in the
Okay.
segments for the same power, but it feels really slow.
I haven't been on a gravel bike.
Uh, and imagine that's not like a road tire.
No, of course not.
It's like it
But
has a
but
big profile.
you are using the Hutchinson ones,
Yes,
right? Which are made for Girona,
yes,
usually.
yes, but not for tarmac.
No, obviously it will never be as fast as a pure road bike, a road tire, but
But if you get like a 40 millimeter road tire,
which frame? I don't think there's any frame that can sustain that.
maybe endurance frames. I think some endurance frames could get up to 40.
I would like to see a road bike with
I
40.
think in 5 years we're
Yeah,
gonna
we'll
have,
see, we'll see. But
and like the watts, they just go higher and higher while you increase the width and also the width of the rim.
why is that?
Because
Higher and
you,
higher? Ah, you mean so even using bigger?
yeah, like from 26 to 30, you get almost 30 watts
Yeah, that's a lot.
on a cobblestone. If maybe the because this is two extremes, like
Of course.
cobblestones and good tarmac, but you
Yeah, yeah.
usually ride somewhere in between. So you should have like a mix, and maybe the sweet spot is somewhere around 32, 35, but maybe we don't have the right rim widths right now and the right frames that would perform
Yeah, of course.
for that.
Roglic is going to win the Volta Catalunya, and we will most likely change our entire bike setup so that we can fit 40 millimeters because one study out of nowhere just said that 40 millimeters are better. This is like the main headline of the today's episode. So now, jokes aside, it's always insights that you need to take into account, and then, as you said, test it for you, see what's better. But yeah, really excited for La Volta Catalunya. We hope that you like this new format with seeing us constantly, and if you have the time, like, subscribe, let us know in the comments, in private messages, wherever you feel it's comfortable. Any news, anything that you would like us to make different, topics, everything is welcome. And yep, until next week. Adeu.
Deu